I've worked with several family members. Sometimes it's like the S&P 500. We're rocking. We're gaining points every day. It's like, yeah. And then other days, moment of silence.
And welcome back. Welcome to Commerce and Chill. I am Jessica Johnson Coe.
I'm Waleed.
Hi, Waleed.
Hey, Jessica.
How you doing?
I'm okay. This is like the third edit in this shot, but let's go.
Let's go.
Third take, not edit.
So if you're new to Commerce and Chill, we own two businesses together.
More to come soon. I'm cooking up some new stuff.
And we also happen to be married. So Commerce and Chill is the intersection where we discuss all things entrepreneurship, small business, life, love, and coupledom.
There you go, coupledom. New word there for the Urban Dictionary.
There you go. I love the Urban Dictionary. So in the next few minutes, we hope to share some of our entrepreneurial couple journey with you so that you can take away some things that'll make you stronger in your business as well as make you stronger in your relationship. If you don't know, the box is short for TheSoapBox, which is our premium laundry care service in the Bed-Stuy area, but we do service residential and commercial clients. So download the app. It's available on Apple iTunes stores as well as in the Google Play Store, and put in your address and see if we service your community. We would love to help keep your clothes clean so that you can get your time back.
Get your clothes clean, because you can't wear the same pants all week, even though you're only working from home doing Zoom. You got to change those clothes, man.
Yeah, and I need you to put on some clothes for every Zoom.
That's gross.
The other thing, you mentioned JSB. JSB is short for Johnson Security Bureau, which is our security services firm based in the South Bronx.
BX.
So we're putting people to work to help keep the city safe. If you're looking for a job, holla at us. You can check us out on social, or you can call our office, Johnson Security, Bureau. That's it. So if you've been watched or listened to any of our recent episodes, we've had a heavy focus on business and not as much on personal. But again, this is the intersection of those things, business and personal capital. Talk to me, Waleed, and talk to the good people in Commerce and Chill Land. How do you deal with the loss of someone important in your life or in business?
For me, it's more of the loss of they're not in a circle anymore. And not because sometimes it's bad. It's just because when you outgrow shoes, you outgrow clothes, you outgrow people. You become what you're around. So if I sit here and say, listen, you said we own two businesses together. And in the beginning, I said, I'm working on more. So if I'm surrounding myself or interacted with people on a regular basis who are like, yeah, I'm just good doing whatever I'm doing. Like, I don't really have any really big, scary goals or accomplishments. I'm just good with what I'm doing. The chances of me reaching what I want to reach, that goal, or build the next couple businesses, probably not going to happen.
Right.
Because I'm going to be around individuals who are like, yeah, come on, you got the box, you got JSB, take it easy. Like, why do more? Like, come hang out with us. Like, let's go do whatever. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, I take it seriously, but I don't take it serious. So people be like, oh, you should reflect and like think about. I'm just like, listen, this happened. It was a good result, it was a bad result. It was bad, don't do that anymore. It was good, oh, let's do more of that. Throw gas on it. Like, I don't know. To me, the reflection thing is like, it's not that deep. I'm not saying it's not an important thing or people shouldn't reflect, but to me, it's like, it happened. Let's just go, because I don't want to dwell too much on the past, because then you get hung up on the past and then you get stuck in the paralysis and then you're analyzing this and you're analyzing that. I'm just like, this happened. It was good. Okay, I'm going to do more of it. This happened. It was bad. I don't want to do that again. So for me, it's like, it's hard, but then it's not hard. So there are, like, in quiet times, like, you know, I'm doing stuff I think about. I'll be like, yeah, I wonder what, like, this person is doing. I wonder what that person is doing that I associate with over time or have. And I'll be like, damn, I don't see them anymore. Not that I don't see them because it's something bad. It's because I'm on my grind. Like, I'm trying to build this entrepreneur. You sacrifice something today so you can have a brighter future. Like, that's it.
So with us here at Johnson Security,
I can give some examples later, but
you want to give us an example?
No, you go first.
Well, I think that the way that we operate our business, we try to build extremely close relationships with our clients.
And lasting
Relationships with our clients,
regardless of how much money you spend, regardless of the socioeconomic place where you start, what you want is for somebody to meet your needs, meet you at your point of need, and do it in a way that you see fitting.
And this year it's been somewhat difficult. In the last, I say 18 months, we've had some significant contracts that have come to an end after long periods of time.
Yes.
And what we often hear from candidates who apply for jobs here is, why did you leave your last job? Oh, because the contract ended.
I'm always leery about that.
That almost never happens to us. But we had like 2 contracts that were over 8 years in length that ended. And wherein, you never want to lose anything, especially not when you think about money in business. But what I mourned even more than losing the contract was the loss of the relationship with the people.
Right.
And it's not that we can't continue to talk to those people, but it's just very different.
Because you're not working with them on that regular basis,
Right.
whatever it was, daily, weekly, monthly, whenever we had to interact with them for whatever, role they were playing in this whole work relationship we have with them.
Right. And so it made me think about, even internally, some of the team members, we're a family business. So some of our team members are actually our family.
You're loyal. You're grateful. I appreciate that.
We've had family members who have decided they no longer want to work here.
100%.
And you can't fault them. But again, you can mourn the loss of that work relationship because you grow to depend on somebody to do something if they're in a certain role.
Or you just be like, bump it. Yeah, go on.
You could be like, bump it, but still.
I don't mean it in a negative way, because you could get hung up on.
How do you bump it in a good way? Unless you're like bumping music.
Like you could bump it in a good way. Like, you're not telling them like, after you, like, you not gonna be nothing without me. You need to stay here. Nah. No. Like, they want to go do something different, or like they'll say, oh, the company is different now. You hear this sometime as the business grows. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's so corporate now. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, as you grow, like, we have to have more rules and regulations, right? And media team is laughing because like they're expanding and growing. They went from a couple people and they were just running and gunning and being willy-nilly. Now it's like,
you got to have a plan. You have to have structure. You have to have boundaries.
Mr. Cole,
we have to have policies.
Right. We have these branding guidelines we have to follow. We have to use the same fonts for this and that. Yeah. Because now we're just not some dudes putting stuff on Instagram and being like, hey, like, we're building legacy. Like, we're building brands. And that's going to translate into something long term, and we're creating structure. And like, people get it twisted. Structure and routine is good. Mm-hmm. And it's also good to mix it up and try different things. Like, you don't want to always eat the same thing off the menu every time you go to that restaurant.
But you usually eat the same thing off
the menu. Yeah, but I'm a contradiction. So
see and cope.
But I do try new things, because we went to that West Indian restaurant on, I said restaurant, like, yo, what, I'm Bugs Bunny now?
And that's the end.
I'm good with we got to eat spaghetti every night or peanut butter and jelly. I'm like, whatever. Like, I can lock into a routine and keep going. So I'll be like, okay, yeah, let's do that. But inside I'll be like, this gonna taste nasty. But I keep my mouth shut and then think positive, and then I eat it and I'll be like, holy shit, this tastes really good. Oh, sorry, I can't say that anymore. Sorry.
Well, I applaud you for stepping out the box and trying something different.
Yeah.
That's not like how you typically move.
Like, it's cause, I'm getting old. It's the gray hairs. Like, they're changing me slowly but surely. I'm upping my game. So that's like, you got to deal with things different. So you're talking about dealing with loss. Like, people come, people go, and it might not just be people. It could be, you said business. It could be, a client you have for 8 years, and it's not ending on bad terms. It's just like, it's the seasons change.
Give an example.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Well, I could give I'll give a good example.
Okay.
Family dynamics. You mentioned like family members worked. I've worked with several of my family members. Moment of silence. I've worked with several family members. Sometimes it's like the S&P 500. We're rocking. We're gaining points every day. It's like, yeah. And then other days, it's Black Monday. Boom, the market crashes. Everybody's selling off. People are going crazy. And like, somebody hits the circuit breaker and the market shuts down because they can't handle its crashing so much. And there's some family members that to this day, that that do not do business with me or us anymore for whatever reasons. And some of it is personal, some of it is business related. And like, I'm fine with it. In the beginning, I was like, it feels bad. Or I see other people who have family members and they're in business and they're like, oh, we're a family. Look, this is my grandson, the grandfather, and the son. It's like 3 generations working together. And I'm like,
What's liabilities?
Liabilities are things that take money out your bank account.
Entrepreneurship is the act of becoming an entrepreneur. What's entrepreneurship?
Entrepreneurship is a process of setting up a business or business.
that's nice. Like, that's awesome. Like,
That's not my reality.
right. It's like small part of me is like, yeah, I wish that would have been. But that goes back to what we talked about before. Everything is kind of intertwined. So if that was my scenario, then we might not be where we are now, because those family members had different viewpoints for business, right? Their viewpoint was, oh, we should stay small or mid-sized, because if you grow, you got to deal with more regulations and taxes and things of that nature. And I'm just like, bump it. If we get bigger, I will pay someone to be in a tax advisor to tell us how we structure our tax game better, or how do we invest our money so we're not hitting, like, I'm not trying to evade taxes at all, or what is it? Tax evasion is illegal. I'm not trying to evade taxes. Like, we need to pay taxes. I go to some institution, or we go to investors and they say, okay, give me the tax returns. Give me your bank statements.
Let me see your 941s.
Right, and they can be like, hold on.
Or your 1099s.
This doesn't add up. The dollar amounts don't add up, because I didn't commit to doing things the right way, or the way that I needed to do to get the business where I want to get in the end.
Right.
Because your tax dollars are used to support the infrastructure and this different city and state positions.
I just don't need to pay taxes for the whole city, state, and community. I'm just putting that out there.
Right.
That's just me.
My thing is, if we went as we grow and get bigger and bigger, understanding the full details of whatever the current tax laws are. Mm-hmm. And how do we apply them to whatever situation we're currently in?
Side note, if you're starting a business, or if you already have a business, make sure you have your A+As together. And A+As are your accountants and attorneys. Accountants and attorneys. Don't go looking in the yellow pages. Don't go using the same person that helped your cousin get their immigration for business. Make sure you have someone who specializes in business accounting and business law.
Right. So, I mean, how do I deal with it? It's an ongoing thing, mm-hmm. because to the day I die, which is going to be really long, because I'm outliving everybody.
Speak it.
But. I'm saying but, because the living part I'm saying. And I will think about it all the time, because it will always be part of it. Now, will it affect my decisions and how we grow the business and do different things? More than likely not. It's just going to be that thing in the back of my head was like, it would have been cool if, but that if is not a reality. Mm-hmm. So, and maybe it's not a reality now. Maybe it'll be a reality 5 years from now. I don't know. But based on the past track record, it's probably not a reality.
You never know. Be
open. The West Indian restaurant, be open.
Yes. So I have an example. Recently, we got word from one of our clients who we've been working with since 2012. And we were thinking about what would happen, just random conversation earlier this year. We were talking about what would happen if they decided they didn't want to work with us anymore. What would happen if we decided on focusing more on being a prime contractor, and some of these subcontracting opportunities that we currently have, we didn't put as much attention and time into those. Well, come to find out that our largest
the universe is funny
partner, to whom we serve as a subcontractor, was recently acquired. And so everybody, for the most part, that we were working with on a series of contracts will more than likely be displaced. Mm-hmm. And we will now be working with a different prime contractor who we have some experience with, but we also have the opportunity to make some new relationships 100%. And see how things might end up differently. And so I'm personally mourning the loss of the relationship with one team, because they're casualties in this. I mean, granted, the people at the top, they worked very hard for decades to build a strong organization that they would be in a great position to sell and get a good return on their investment. So I'm never going to get mad at anybody for getting their money. Dude, congratulations. I hope you're sipping a whole lot of Mai Tais on the beach somewhere, getting tan, chucking it up. The little people who are the casualties along the way, those are the ones I grieve for. It's the people who worked in accounts payable, who helped us to get our invoices in so that we could get paid on time. It's the account managers who helped us to schedule training so that our officers could go to work at the client sites unhindered, undeterred. It's the people in the field that were field supervisors who filled in the gap when we weren't able to do some of the things that they asked us to do. So understand that there are different kind of relationships and different kinds of losses that take place in business. And so I'm more for them, the work side, but I mourn the loss of the work relationship for us.
So how do you deal with the loss?
So that's a great question, because the last time we had a client who was acquired, we didn't know. And so we didn't have the time to proactively address the people who were being who got separated from the organization. So it's just a matter of being extremely proactive, checking in with people. Hey, how are you doing? I'm not trying to be in your business, but have you found out where you're going to land? Like, are they keeping you? Or are you looking for something else? How can I help you? Just having those conversations to show people that you care, right? Because people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And sincerely, in working with people for 8 years, you talk to them pretty frequently. And we've had a lot of money come through our coffers as a result of that relationship. I don't anticipate that the level of money will decrease. And don't come from me, because whatever you think it is, it's not as much as you think. And so just be proactive about checking in with people. And remember that they're people first.
Right.
And then also having to communicate to our team what we know about the transaction, because some people on our team think, oh, am I going to lose my job? Is Johnson being acquired? Are they going to come buy us next? Oh, what does that mean? Am I going to get all the money in my retirement account? Well, Miss Johnson, you about to retire? Listen. Thing that you can do, and I always stress this, is control your narrative, right? So even if your competitors, even if your employees, your former employees are out there to damage your reputation, if you get ahead of that and you tell your story more than they can, it almost doesn't matter. The Cope always talks about creating content. So if you're consistently creating content about your brand, about your business, about your products and services, then when these people come out the woodwork talking crazy, it'll just be like a gnat. It'll just be annoying, but it won't have as much of an impact.
I'm a small business owner in Bed-Stuy, just trying to grow my business and work with other small, businesses to grow together.
The best type of revenge is success. So
you said be proactive, checking in.
Yeah.
Is how you deal with it.
Yeah. And then, spending time face to face when you can with those people. I mean, granted, it's different than if it's a loss of life and that person won't come back. Right. But that's all the more reason why in the time that you do have, spend it with people. Like, if somebody crosses your mind, call them, FaceTime them, go visit with them, grab a bottle of wine, some French fries, something, because you don't want to live with regret.
Right.
Yeah, so that's the other thing. When you can't get in that FaceTime.
Awesome.
What else?
That's it. It's like, listen, it's how we deal with it. So we talked about the examples here of dealing with business, and then sometimes there's the loss with personal, loss of life. Someone is not with us, and that's a little tricky. So I really don't want to touch that because
let's not get morbid today. So we'll keep.
And everybody handles that differently. But talking about the business, you talked about having a loss when you have a long-term client that you work with and losing those relationships that you've built over that 8-year period. And you talked about how being proactive, and then you had asked me about how I dealt with losing. And when I say losing a family member, not losing them as in death, but losing them
transitioning out
of being a partner in the business with you. But what I would say, I think most people think of it, and we look at the word loss, we're looking at it as a negative. I would say, you got to turn it around and look at it from a different perspective. So it turns out people say it's a loss because someone's leaving. But a lot of times if you really think back or look at some situations that's happening in life or in your business, those situations might have led to bigger opportunities for you. So I like to look at it where for a hot second, I'm just like, damn, this person is leaving, or, this is happening and they were doing this. And now who's going to do all the tasks and the duties they're responsible? That stuff is all hype. It's in your head. Right. Because there's been people on our team and I was like, yeah, we need to transition them out. And there'd be that one thing in the back of my head, be like, yeah, if they leave now, I got to do the schedule and I got to do this. And you end up making it more than what it really is. Yes. You paint this mental picture for yourself and you blow it up. Grow like 10 people, 5 people, 3 people.
He didn't say which one.
Listen, but it doesn't matter.
Hold on.
What people don't understand is you could have 3 people. You could have 300 people. If the people don't execute on what needs to be done, it's still a headache for you. It's still a problem you got to deal with. If I had 3 people, it'd be like, oh, it's so much easier with 3 people. No, it's not. It's the same headaches. It's just 3 people. And sometimes it's even worse with 3 people versus 300, because with 300, you got these other layers for people to be able to absorb some of the other duties, versus 3 people will be like, yo, Jim, you were supposed to do X. You didn't show up today. Now I got to do Jim's job and my job. Sometimes, not even sometimes, what you should do is just be like, you know what? This is what the situation is. This is the cards that you were dealt. Play the best damn hand you can play with the cards you were dealt. Because when you're playing whatever your game is, poker, spades, I declare war, I don't know, whatever it is, card game, you can't just throw your hand in and say, give me a whole new hand. Because there's a penalty for that, depending on the game you're playing. You're going to lose something. So instead, you take the hand that you were dealt with, and you don't throw them down and complain and moan and do, yes, I got a bad hand. You sit there and you come up with a strategy for the cards. Uno, right? You get those cards, you come up with a strategy and be like, how am I going to outplay the person or the people sitting around the table or across from me with what I was dealt? Mm-hmm. So if you get a loss, someone leaves, a client leaves, how do you turn that loss into a win? Right? How do you turn that from something negative to positive? And maybe you shouldn't even view it as a negative from the beginning. They're like, yeah, I'm leaving, I'm out. And you're like, cool. It was like, oh, it's awesome working with you. You have a going away party for them or whatever. And then you start thinking, what's the next moves we're going to make? Because maybe there were some things you couldn't do or you didn't do because that person or that client or that thing was part of the picture. Mm-hmm. And now they leave, like all these other opportunities open up. Right. You'll be so surprised. Like there's people who have stopped working with the team. And I say this, like, I was kind of sad that they left. Mm-hmm. But then when I look at what happened afterwards, I'm like,
you're like, well,
thank goodness.
It's like the tree was pruned.
I was like, thank goodness. Because now
you had a branch that wasn't producing and chopped it off.
And then these 2 new branches grew out of it and all this fruit started coming out of it. Because we have some people on the team now that I'm just like, thank God. Because now I'm freed up to do a million other things.
Yet unemployed.
Yes, no problem. But at least he came, he showed her in the interview who he is. I have much respect for that versus him coming in and trying to pretend to be something he's not. So then if he gets the job under that pretense and then he crumbles during the probation period, or even if he makes a password, he crumbles because now he can't keep up the facade, mm-hmm. right? So I have more respect for someone that comes to the interview and be like, listen, this is who I am. I can only add up to 12 in my head, and you want to hire me for an accountant position, but I'm really good with a calculator. Okay, I know what I'm getting. And now we can grow and do other things.
Just on a personal note, when you get very involved in your business, there may be friends and family members you don't have as much time to spend with. Have conversations with them about what that means for the time that you previously spent together. So if you're used to doing things like going to homecoming and now that you can't, just let them know, hey guys, this is a very challenging year. I won't make it to homecoming in October, but we can do a Zoom. Let's maybe when you come to New York, let's do lunch. Keep me abreast of what your schedule is. And by having conversations, you won't necessarily have to cut your friends and family off, but by helping them better understand your business and your other time commitments, it'll help frame how you can best manage your ongoing personal relationship with them so that there's no bad ill will or bad vibes against your business or against you now because you aren't able to show up for people the same way you previously did.
Yeah, and like you mentioned that, it reminds me, you know this story, and then I'm dropping the mic on this one. But a couple years ago, some friends and associates that we all knew together and met together, you and I met together at the same time. We all went out, for a dinner one time. It was like around my birthday. And like during that time, I really started reflecting on like what I'm doing in the business and with our businesses. And I was just like, damn, I just hit another milestone, another year in life. And I'm like, bro, like I took and looked at myself in the mirror and was like, bro, you are not doing everything you're supposed to be doing. Mm-hmm. So I totally just went into like dark mode. And I was like, I would see people, speak to them, text them, whatever. But I was like head down, foot on the gas pedal 100%. And then I got messages from them later on, or I saw them later on. I was like, yeah, you're not friends with us anymore. You don't like us. I was like, no, like, bro, they was like, oh, we went out. You're not friends with us no more because of that. I was like, no, it's not that we're not friends. I was like, bro, I'm focused. Like I'm putting my head down because I want to put my head down for a year or 2 years. And then when I come up for air or I come out the shadows, it's going to be like, oh, like it's something totally new. So sometimes people are not going to understand what you focused on because they focused on something else. And you can't let that sidetrack you or derail you or make you take your eye off your prize. So